It's story time with Auntie Monique.
Moses and the King of Egypt, Story 50, Exodus 7 to 10. Frogs, flies, and hail. God had promised Moses that he would do many terrifying things to make the king and the people of Israel too understand that he was able to rescue his people. Moses and Aaron went back to the king and warned him that if he did not obey God and set his people free, all kinds of misfortunes would come to Egypt. But the king simply laughed and refused to pay any attention. God kept his promise, and 9 terrible disasters struck Egypt, all at God's command. After each one, Moses went to the king and gave him the chance to change his mind and obey God. But every time the king hardened his heart. First, Moses raised his stick on God's orders, and the life-giving water of the river Nile, which supplied all Egypt, changed to thick red oozing liquid. Then frogs came jumping out of the foul waters and hopped everywhere into the houses, the beds, and the ovens. At first, the court magicians copied Moses, showing what wonderful tricks they could perform. But they could do nothing to cleanse the Nile water or get rid of the frogs. The king was sorry for himself. He promised Moses that he would let the people go if their God would only take away the frogs. Moses prayed to God, and the frogs died. But the moment the trouble was over, the king changed his mind again and said no to Moses and to God. Then God sent stinging, whining gnats and fat buzzing flies. Each time, the king promised Moses that if God took away the plague, he would let the people go. Each time, Moses listened to the king, and each time the king changed his mind once the disaster was over and refused to let the Israelites go. Cows, horses, and the donkeys died from disease, and the people themselves broke out in painful, red swelling boils. But still the king said no. A storm broke, and huge hailstones rained down like bullets. But still the king said no. A plague of hungry locusts came like a black cloud and devoured all the crops. After that, the land was plunged for 3 days into black, inky darkness. In Goshen, the people of Israel were kept safe from these troubles. God had proved that he was stronger and greater than all the gods of Egypt and their clever magicians. But still the king said no.
In the next episode, we will be covering
Moses and the King of Egypt, the last punishment.